Hello, my name is Samuel DERGEL, and welcome to our very first podcast from the DERGEL Executive Network. We're very pleased to have with us today Maya Bordeaux. Maya, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, thank you, Samuel. I'm so delighted to be here. Thank you for inviting me. I have the pleasure and privilege of leading the People and Culture Division at ATPCO. And so ATPCO is a 60-year-old company that is privately owned by 11 airlines. And we provide pricing data to the airlines, to 440 airlines across the globe. And so we play an important position in supporting the industry. It's all about connecting people across the world.
Wow. And so how many people are in your organization, Maya?
We are small but mighty. There are 500 employees at ATPCO.
How long have you been with the organization, Maya?
It will be 4 years next month.
Already?
And it has been so much fun. Yes.
Wow.
4 years. I know.
That's so great. Tell us a little bit about some of the things you've done prior to ATPCO.
I have always said that I am agnostic about the industry, that my draw is simply the people and the ability to elevate the employee experience for all employees. And so I have had some pretty diverse experiences that I'm excited about. I have been in media. Immediately preceding ATPCO, I was the Chief Human Resources Officer for Tribune Publishing, which owned about 150 newspaper publications across the United States. Prior to Tribune Publishing, I worked in CPG and in food and beverage. CPG, consumer product goods, was Wilton Brands, the bakery people who make all baked goods across the U.S. And then McDonald's, which I don't know if you've heard of them.
Nope.
But I was at McDonald's, and I was responsible for the United States area of the world. McDonald's, as you know, is a mega employer with millions of employees across the world, and I was responsible for the United States, which had about 90,000 employees. Had a great experience, both at the time it was called North Shore University Health System. It has now been rebranded as Endeavor Health. And prior to that, I was at University of Chicago. It's just been a great experience, a great journey in human resources.
Wow. So Maya, could I ask you, you've been in different industries over your career. And sometimes I've heard from people going, it's hard to get into another industry after you've been in an industry for a while. You kind of get looked at as, an HR executive in that industry. But you've continued to work in different industries as you move forward in your career. What is it about you that's allowed you to accomplish that? Because most people would find it hard to be able to do, Maya.
So great question. And I mean, it's because I'm amazing, but besides that, so I was absolutely concerned about being pigeonholed in healthcare. As I mentioned earlier, I was at two different healthcare systems for 12 years. And at that point, I decided I absolutely had to exit healthcare, even though I loved it. I didn't want to get pigeonholed. I wanted to experience learning a business, learning an industry, and assessing whether the people, matters, topics, issues are the same or different. And so I was very intentional about exiting healthcare and went from healthcare to McDonald's. So that was a huge shift in industry for me. And then I typically stay at an organization For about 5 or 6 years. That initially earlier in my career was not intentional. But when I look back on my experiences, it's about that time that I feel like I have done a lot. I have delivered for the organization. I have elevated the employee experience. I have helped the organization meet its goals and objectives in whatever was typically a 5 year strategic plan. And it is then at that time, I then moved to the next organization and intentionally seeking a company that is in a different industry so as to continue to diversify my experiences.
So ATPCO is not a company that most people know of, but use all the time, ultimately.
Absolutely.
Okay, so it's really one of those background companies that is critical to how we live our lives. Um, from a people perspective at ATPCO, what are some of the amazing opportunities you've had to be able to make a difference? I'd love to hear some of those.
Yeah, so thank you. So we pride ourselves on being a very flexible work environment, very committed to work-life balance, very committed to appropriately rewarding our employees. And so we have um, incredibly competitive pay and benefits packages to complement this work-life balance that is equally important. And so, what I have discussed with my talent acquisition specialists as they are talking to new or potential talent is that what is special or unique about ATPCO is we care about employees and their experience, and that it is flexible, that they feel they have balance, that they are allowed to work from home primarily most of the work week.
Hmm.
Um, we've been 100% remote since 2020.
Yeah.
And being able to offer that in addition to competitive pay and benefits, it has been a game changer for us with regards to the
Hmm.
war on talent. We also have, and this is something that uh, I'm like, why do we not lead with this? We have unlimited vacation. We have a policy called Leave Your Way. Take leave your way, which means take whatever time you need for yourself, for your mental health, for your time to disconnect from the company. So we have no accrual system, no, uh, weeks of vacation aligned with your service. Uh, you immediately, upon hire, have unlimited vacation time. Every employee is bonus eligible. We initially offered bonuses only to the officers. And when I came to the company, it was important to me that every employee was invested in our strategic plan and achieving those goals. And so while it was incredibly expensive for the company, I was able to influence the board that we make everyone bonus eligible. And so we did it in a phased approach where directors became eligible, and then managers, and then finally all individual contributors in year 3 of that phased approach. And so now all of my employees are very excited, and we are all working towards the common goals, the KPIs that are set annually each year. And if and when we achieve them, everyone gets a bonus. And we have overachieved in the last 3 years that I have been with the company.
Because you're there. Um, so we bring up two interesting points. I just like to pull on the string a little bit more. Unlimited vacation time. How does that work? Because uh, you know see conversations back and forth, let's say on LinkedIn about, oh, trust your employees are professionals, just trust them. To others that say, uh, that's ridiculous. How can you actually do that? How does it even work? Do they ever show up to work? What are some of your learnings from putting that into place in reality?
I honestly was one of the people that were in the cynical camp
Okay.
and afraid that there would be abusers. But one thing that I have learned in my HR journey, which has been rich and long, is that you can't write policies and punish everyone for the few abusers, the minority group that will
Hmm.
abuse a policy. So, in general, no one abuses this policy. They don't use it excessively. We even have pockets of the organization where we still have to harass people to take vacation because we have incredibly dedicated employees who are under time constraints and deadlines and haven't fully embraced that, a part of you being well and bringing your best to
Hmm.
work is also taking time away from work. And so I have been very much a champion for employee wellness and, have a very robust program in place around employee wellness and benefits that flow from that program for employees. Um, and we haven't had we've had one or two people who have had to have the talk with their manager
Hmm.
because they're taking off too much time and not delivering on what it is that they are being held responsible and accountable for. But, I'll take it for it to be one or two circumstances in 4 years that we've had this, almost 5 years that we have had this policy in place. Overall, it has been an incredible win for the employees and for the company and our ability to recruit.
So on the bonus eligible part that you mentioned previously, that where everybody in the organization is now eligible to take part in the bonus structure, and it keeps them aligned with the corporate objectives. I think that's great, and I think it goes back to people and culture in the organization and under that banner. Um,
Yes.
and I think that there can be a whole symposium just as to whether, you know, should culture be part of HR, or should culture be a CEO responsibility, but we don't have the time for that. But it's really very interesting to see how you're having an impact on culture through positive people programs that are allowing you to be able to make a difference to the organization and to the people in the organization. So kudos to you.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. And I would say my experience at ATPCO is very unique because of the CEO, who is absolutely my partner. So the CEO and I lead and cultivate culture. We partner on everything related to people because he is a CEO who's very invested in people, completely understands that we don't get anything done without our people, and the importance of having someone with my experience and my passion in this role. I remember in my first meeting, my first interview with him, he asked me the question, like, what makes you unique? What makes you a unique um, chief HR officer? And I said, well, how much time do you have? But then I then answered that I am incredibly people centered. I draw my energy from people. I love people. And you'd be surprised, Samuel, how many people work in HR and don't love people. There are plenty of people who don't operate from that base, and I absolutely believe that is what wakes me up in the morning. It is absolutely my superpower to connect with and inspire the best in the people around me.
That's fantastic. You mentioned your relationship with the CEO and how strong it is and how strong of a
Yeah.
partnership it is. And it wouldn't surprise me if people that are listening to this and watching this going like, I wish I had a CEO like that. Um, in my talking to CHROs and chief people officers, um, uh, many people that are not loving what they're doing has a lot to do with they don't have the best CEO partner to be able to
Hmm.
accomplish things. Um, and so it's an interesting point that you made, and I'm glad that it's working well for you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And I'd like to have a generalized conversation, not specifically what's ATPCO doing with AI, but from a strategic perspective, how AI is going to reshape the people function and business because they're
Hmm.
intertwined. So I'd
Yeah.
love to, I'd like to, I'd love to get some perspectives from you, Maya.
Yeah, no, great topic. And ATPCO is a technology company, so obviously we're doing a lot with AI. But when I think of this from a broader and more general perspective, um, my experience thus far
Mhm.
has been somewhat surprising that there is absolutely a sense of fear
Mhm.
that I get either anecdotally or directly in like survey comments or in conversations and meetings that employees are afraid of AI
Mhm.
because it's so highly effective, so incredibly powerful, so just unhumanly fast, and that they are afraid that they will be replaced by AI.
Mhm.
And so, in conversations, in talks like this that I've had about AI in the last year, 18 months, um, I have been very confident in my perspective that AI is not here to replace people, but to enhance your efficiency, to enhance your capability to get your job done.
Mhm.
Um, are there jobs that may eventually completely go away? I mean, sure. But that's the evolution of the workplace, of the world, right? And so as inventions come about, there are things that will and roles that will go away. But based on my experience and assessment thus far, it typically is in instances where it is very narrow what it is that you do, and you do this one thing for a company that can be replaced by AI, by a robot, by a computer. Um, when I've had talks with my employees about the roles that each of them have across people and culture, there's so much involved in their role that requires human touch,
Mhm.
literally and figuratively.
Mhm.
Um, but we had a recent situation that is, similar to the nuance I just described. It's like one function you do, and AI basically can do it better. So we had in our talent acquisition team very dynamic recruiters who were earlier in their career, younger in their career, and had not fine-tuned their writing skills for job postings,
Mhm.
and and writing the job postings in a way that's got a punch and that's going to, distinguish us from other employers that are looking for, a principal engineer, as an example. So we contracted with this person to write those until Chat GPT got installed, and my recruiters were trained on using it. So about 18 months ago, they literally it showed me that in about 15 seconds, they type in a descriptor as to ideally what they wanted the job posting to say,
Hmm.
and Chat GPT kicks out a job posting that is fabulous in literally like it might have been 10 or 15 seconds. And so once we saw that, we were like, oh, well, we don't need this contract anymore to do that. And so there are so many other aspects of the recruiter job,
Hmm.
obviously.
Hmm.
So so it's not that a recruiter was replaced by AI, but someone who specifically had one responsibility, and that was writing job postings.
Got it. Amazing. Thank you. What I'd like to be able to do is turn the tables and have the opportunity for you to ask me a question.
Oh.
Um, I'm a little nervous, but go ahead.
So, in your role, in
Yes.
your business,
Yes.
are you using or leveraging AI at all?
Great question. We're certainly using it to help with preparing job descriptions at certain points in time.
Mhm.
Um, that's there. Research into companies and to organizations we should look at when we're headhunting for talent. Certainly there. Just a lot of the writing and some of the research we're using for that. Um, from my perspective, AI is a tool. Last I looked at the calendar, I've been working for over 30 years. I started work in the beginning of the 90s in an accounting firm where office automation came in. Um, if you take a look at, if you really count all the tools over 30 years that have come in, they've all been, some of them have been helpful, some of them have been game changers. Look at your phone and how we work today. I remember getting the small BlackBerry pager,
Yes.
and 20 something years ago, it really changed how we work and allow us to do better work and be more, um, really enjoy more what we do.
Yes.
And it continues. I haven't replaced myself over that period of time, but I've used it to grow and be able to accomplish more and better things. To
Yeah.
me, if my perspective, you look forward to the world, go, well, when computers and robots are running the world, um, I, I don't think we'll see that. I think that they'll be very helpful and maybe be more helpful, but I think it'll allow us to um, be creative and think things through and come up with ideas with the tools around us, with AI or whatever next tool is going to come along.
I
Uh,
agree. I agree wholeheartedly. I love how you describe it and point back to other um, innovation over our career journey that, changed or reshaped how we did things, but it only increased our efficiency. It didn't replace us.
it helped with the right approach, of course. It helps us enjoy what we do more.
Yes. Yes.
You see, to me, business is a social construct. Business is social. Um, and so long as things need to get done and organizations like businesses are there to be able to get them done, they're going to need people. Um, I do not see computers or AIs or robots running businesses.
Agree. Sure. Like
Right.
doing tasks, yes, maybe, but not, to your point, not running companies.
Right. And so it's going to be an exciting, the vision ahead as to how, no matter how long we're going to be involved in this, it's really going to be exciting and new and different and enjoyable. And I'm really glad we had the opportunity to connect here today, Maya.
I am too. It is always, always a pleasure to connect with you. Thank you so much for inviting me. And it's always enjoyable to talk about my journey.
Mm.
I I counted last night. It's been 28 years, so it has been quite some time, and I still got more, a whole lot more in me. So I'm
The
excited
best is
about
yet to
what the
come.
future holds.
The best is yet
Yeah.
to come. On that note, thank you. And thank you to our listeners. I hope you found this helpful. Once again, I'm Samuel Dergel, and I was joined by Maya Bordeaux today. And if you're interested in joining us for one of these in the future, please reach out to me. Thank you very much, Maya, and everybody have yourself a great day.
Cornerstone, DERGEL Cornerstone, DERGEL Executive Network Podcast by DERGEL Cornerstone.